that's that. Be sure to hit that like button, share this content. Let a friend, a neighbor know where to go when it's time to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. The name is Law Nation. Thank you, and thank you over there for tuning in to the nation. We're going to talk about this. Put a 1 in the chat if the audio is straight. And if you're watching on the podcast, be sure to know that sharing is caring. Get down. They say ain't no party like a cowboy party. But what about a Law Nation's groove? From my studios to yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. 5, 4, 3, 2. And 1. You about to walk to work, Ace. Flying above the rest, Jeremy and Gary. Let's get it, Blake. Yeah, come on. All right. Cowboy Nation. It ain't easy being us. Oh, my God, it's not easy. It is not easy at all. But somebody got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. It's rough. Appreciate you, JP. Appreciate you, Dak Owens, and whoever else that's here. Sadiq, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Here's my thoughts. Jerry Jones is begging. And we're going to get right to it. Let's get right to it.
Getting a deal with him.
Hold on.
Mike is a great player, not a good player, but a great player. He knows more than anyone that it's a team thing. And so I know everybody's tired of hearing this, but you've got to put this puzzle together so that you can have some other people out there playing with Michael. That's the art of the deal, and that's why we're trying to get done. And we're trying to make this thing work. But we have all the appreciation in the world for what he can mean to the years ahead. We're proud to have him.
How close are you to getting a deal with?
All right, so we're not having a good time. We're having a great time. I'm thinking that Jerry been listening to us, man, or me. You guys get how it goes. It's an unwinnable situation because on one end, you get a contract done. We happy about it. But what did it cost you, right? You got someone that got a face now longer than Jay Leno's chin, and that is Micah Parsons, right? Or if it's a situation, this scenario, that if we look back at this Cowboy Nation and we would say to ourselves, if you don't get the contract deal done, that it lingers and it weighs heavy on this team going into game 1. Here's my thoughts. If I ask you guys, who's the best player on defense? Most of you guys would say Micah Parsons. If I ask you guys, who's the best player on this team, before you name 4 or 5 other guys, you're going to say Micah Parsons. So if I asked you guys, if you're going into battle, if you're going into war, if you're going into combat, would you prefer the butter knife, the machine gun, the machete, the bow and arrow, You're going to try to pick up your best weapons. You're going to try to pick up your best artillery. You got a choice, a bicycle or a car, full of gas. Now, the bicycle can work in certain situations. But if I have to travel the distance, give me the car. It's simple. But the Cowboys make it complex because of the situation as it relates to the contract situations. And I get it. I understand the salary cap league, it's everybody got to fall under the same umbrella as it relates to the salary cap. And for the life of me, we talking about pies. She's my cherry pie. All of these pies, man. Apple pie, cherry pie. The Cowboys got an alibi when it comes down to paying their particular players, unfortunately. But everyone, all 32 teams is under the same umbrella. All of them. This rule doesn't only apply just to the Dallas Cowboys, right? Because if I'm looking at this correctly, ladies and gentlemen, the Cowboys got 31 million pies, right? The Packers got 31 million pies. The Eagles got 29 million pies, if we're going to talk about a pie, right? And if I'm going all the way to the top, the Patriots got 59 million pies. The Lions have 48 million pies. The 41ers got 46 million pies. So there's a lot of pies out here. And from what I can see, do y'all see a different pie? You know, hey, get out the way. Do y'all see a different pie? Is what I'm going. Purgatory pie, cherry pie, rock pie, cowboy pie. Oh my goodness, pie in the sky. You know, I'm going to get me some pie, you know. And the Cowboys talking about, is it enough pie to spread around and these sorts of things? I absolutely get it. But I'm going to ask you guys, how come other teams are able to get their pie situated and they don't lean on guys that played in the National Football League? I would say something about my brother here, but how can you lean on the understanding with this guy right here? And shout out to Michael, the playmaker Irvin. Shout out to him, the Hall of Famer that he is. At the top of the hour, he's going to go live with Jerry Jones on this episode. Maybe we can tune in. Shepherd pie. Hey, Elijah, boy, what you know about that shepherd pie, man? I thought only us Mississippians do that shepherd pie. But and Jerry here, and this is the playmaker. Let's listen to what he said. It's about an 8-second clip.
Michael, why don't you grab Micah and come over here with him and come with me and sit down here and bridge this gap? Michael.
Come with me. Hail Mary. Michael, would you run quick, see? What do we have here now? Do you want to ride or die? Yes, indeed, boy. Here's my thoughts. Pick up the phone, call David Mulugeta. Let's get this deal done. And stop adding everybody to your personal business, right? Derby pie, you know. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, my goodness. Shoe fly pie, boy. As long as y'all don't say, I ain't going to say that one. It's too early. Bandit for life. He says, we all know he will be signed. And at what cost? Not financially. But from a situation that once words been said, words been applied, you can't take them back. You can go get a lick back from somebody. They hit you in your face, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can return that hit right back to their face. But if somebody start talking about Elijah, I'm not finna say that one out loud. No. But cream is good. And on top of that, here's what I'm going to say with all of that. If you get hit in the face, you can turn the other cheek and tell them to hit you on the other face, other side. You can return the hits. But if somebody say something,
Darren
come
Cozy,
on.
$5. Poontang Pie.
Wait a minute, Ricky, and shout out to you, DP. Hey, one of my favorite movies, man, of all times, you know. Boy, y'all can't get this show going. Hey, one of my favorite movie of all time, Life, you know. He said, how about how can we make these only pies into pies? You know what I'm saying? And he said, and then she said, she put that gun out, and she said, how about I turn you into some I almost said into some naysayer pies. Boy, that's my favorite movie, man. Look, I'm going to watch Life after this video, you know. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Mississippi. Where was I? I was talking about, I'm trying not to say it, y'all. Y'all get what I'm trying to go, you know. Hold on. Let me...
Jerry Jones.
Let me go to somewhere else.
Current state of affairs.
Y'all got me
between
going.
Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was on Fox this morning. He had some comments yesterday. We heard from the coach. Brian Schottenheimer is like, I fully expect him to be there. Business will take care of it, all that sort of stuff. Is this different? Are we in a different world now than the usual? This stuff usually works itself out. What's your opinion on it, Tom?
We're in a different world right now because there is still.
Can y'all hear audio? It's kind of muffled on my end. Put a 3 in the chat if you can hear the audio straight, and we're going to get right to it, okay? All right? Appreciate y'all. And thank you guys for all of the pies.
As of about 20 minutes ago when I was checking on this, no communication. There is no communication between the Cowboys and Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulugeta, in terms of doing a long-term contract. We can all point to, yes, CeeDee Lamb took forever. Dak didn't get done until a few hours before kickoff last year in Cleveland. But those deals were weeks and months in the making. With Micah Parsons, there, of course, were the conversations that now are well documented between Micah and Jerry Jones, who thought he had a handshake, cocktail napkin type of deal done back in March, whether it was because Jerry felt like this was Micah going back on his word, whether this is because Jerry simply is negotiating on his own timeline. Whatever it is, no one has called Micah's agent to try to get a deal done. There's not been a single offer in writing. There has not been a single conversation that would qualify as a contract negotiation. Is there still time? Yes, but 2 weeks from tonight, Rich, the Cowboys play the Eagles in the kickoff game on national TV. Micah has not practiced. He's been, from what I've been told, he's been great in the meeting rooms, the walkthroughs. He's doing all that stuff.
Right.
But you still got to get your body in shape to play football. There's a conditioning element that goes into this, among other things. At some point in the coming days here, Micah's either going to need to practice or he's not going to be ready to be a participant, certainly not a full participant, in the week 1 game. I know Brian Schottenheimer said yesterday he's confident that Micah is going to be out there in week 1. I don't believe that there's been any promises made, though there's been an open and honest dialogue between Schottenheimer and Micah throughout the course of this process. The Cowboys, if you just base it on what Jerry Jones said several days ago, they seem to be looking at this as, hey, Micah's either going to come back and try to save the deal in March, or, hey, he'll just play it out on the 5th-year option here, and we'll worry about franchise tags and all that when we get to March.
Yeah.
Turn. Told me it was my turn. It's
Wrong button, but it fits. It's difficult, ladies and gentlemen, because they say put your best foot forward, right? And I get if you didn't have feet, but the Cowboys got feet. And they're refusing to put their best foot forward, and they are playing around and they are gambling, right, with futures situation over money. Now, I'm just like all of you guys. I don't like this team. I love this team. And I do think just like Jerry Jones, I might call him Jason Garrett, but I think just like Jerry Jones, Micah is not a good player. Say it with me. He's a great player. So if you are great to a degree, why would you hose your own player? Like, what benefit do we get from all of this, ladies and gentlemen? like what do we gain from all of this crazy stuff that's going on with a contract? Now, if you've been watching the Netflix documentary, I get it. But I'm tired of it. It's the 90s. That was happening in the 1900s. That's the last time we've been great as a football organization and team and franchise. It was the 1900s, right? We're in a whole different century. We only have about 4 playoff wins, right? Granted, we should have more, right? I'm not taking that away. And I even heard Tony Romo come out here on that particular documentary or wherever he was at. You know, he looked flushed in the face. Shout out to Tony. But he said that he literally see no fault in Jerry. I'm like, come on, man. Is Jerry personally a real great guy? Maybe we can put him into those categories, right? But overall, and I ain't talking about the kind you wear, but when you look at Jerry and you say to yourself, okay, granted, you may have placed some good people on this team, but overall, we've been top heavy. Google top heavy, right? Just don't put ladies in there. You'll see something else. But Google top heavy or ask AI, what is top heavy? And we haven't had the depths, and we can see it. Literally, even when we talking about practice and preseason and all of those things, because we can literally see 2 different teams out there. When our starters out there, we can move the ball. When our backups out there, we can barely move an inch because we are what we call top heavy. CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Kevontae Turpin, who we found from the undrafted community, right? And the brother is fast. But the drop-off from that degree to what we've seen as it relates to this team collectively, historically speaking, been a very, very big drop-off because we have the lack of sense of urgency. Hey, my guy said, Cam says, this is our time now. It is. Jeez. Only if we can remain healthy. That's our battle cry, ladies and gentlemen. If we can just remain healthy. My guy Bandit says, shout out to you. Law, we have had teams that had chances to win. No, we haven't. I'm just going to cut the chase, man. We have to depend on so many things. The catch, no catch from Dez Bryant, right? But following into the next week, who is to say that we will be able to get beyond that? We can lean on the Holy Ghost. We can pray to God. We can do all of those other things. But the other teams are praying too. And there's a reason why the Bronze Ages were the Bronze Ages, right? And there's a reason why the Stone Ages were the Stone Ages. There's a reason why the horse and buggy was good for its time. And it's a reason why now that we got cars that can drive themselves. It's a reason why when we driving in a automobile, and when we start to think about it, you can press a button and it can be 72 degrees. You can press a button, it can be 62 degrees. But the Dallas Cowboys, we such a leaning on this type of situation that we do not adapt quickly. There's been times and situations where we'll look at Jason Garrett and we will pray that when we get to the postseason, please don't have that week off. Because if you take a week off with Jason Garrett, man, the team start off too slow because he never had the adaptability to get this team going. Who remember that? Like, man, I hope when we make it to the postseason, please, can we just make it into the wild card so we can at least get ramped up? But this team on rest, man, oh my goodness. My guy Julius says, In 1994, he wasn't even. I wasn't alive. Oh wow! So Elijah said he was born in 1994. You come on with it. So it's one of those things. Like I'm not 1,000% comfortable or confident when we had those winning seasons that Jason Garrett would literally could get us over the hump from a coaching aspect. We can probably name on our one hand, even if you had JPP hands, of how many games we won surely on coaching strengths. We had to win on talent and hope that nobody get hurt. That is a crazy life to live by. We live it on hope. I hope this won't do. I hope this will do. When we going to get out there and command something? When are we going to get out there and make something happen? Write this down. There's 3 types of people on this earth. A person that go out there and make things happen, a person that go watch things happen, and a person to say, hey, what just happened? Oh, my gosh. Now, granted, even in our misery and purgatory that we are in right now, right? 30 years, 30 seasons. Granted, we can say that basically we still far ahead. There's been other teams that still haven't caught up with us. But look at the conditionings that the front office is allowing us to live in, which is crazy. Yeah.
That's, again, this is your bailiwick, and I'm sorry to be strolling into it in any way, shape, or form in a lane, but all I keep hearing is this is different. That's all I keep hearing. It's different. It's different because Jerry thinks this was a handshake agreement, and Micah's different in the fact that he is more than willing to take this to where players usually don't. That's what I keep hearing, Tom.
For years, if not decades, Jerry Jones, along with Bill Belichick, were the 2 people, the Cowboys and the Patriots, the 2 teams that would negotiate around agents' backs, that would bring a player in and sit them down and basically try to work out a deal and then basically inform the agent, hey, I just talked directly to the player. There's various rules about how that entire thing is supposed to operate here, but Jerry's always been kind of on his own program. And those of us who have delved into the Netflix premiere, me, TJ, and Brockman were at the premiere last week in Hollywood while I was out there. It's an excellent and interesting documentary, but it also shows how Jerry, his entire history has been, he does things a little bit differently. Certainly the contract negotiation, the fact that he's the GM and the owner is one of those things. But in this case, you have an agent in David Mulugheta who negotiated over $1 billion of deals in the past year. He's not a difficult guy to get a hold of. And again, whether it is Jerry feeling like he got, somebody pulled the rug out from under him, whether he's embarrassed, whether he's angry, whatever it is, he's never called. Nobody has called on his behalf and tried to hammer out a deal here. So that part of it is different, which then brings us to this. All right.
Before we go into that, there's a movie back, I believe it was shot in 83, maybe 84, way before most of you guys' time, called Trading Places. Eddie Murphy played in that movie. And these 2 billionaires, or at that time they could have been multimillionaires, these rich guys, right? They were willing to wreck somebody's life. Can y'all put how much money it was over? They made a bet on somebody's life that they could do X, Y, and Z things. Can y'all put that money down? I'm going to see if anybody know the numbers of how much money that they were willing to destroy said person to prove a point amongst each other, right? And I can't help to notice that some people are so untouched or not in touch with the realities of it. Yes. DT, I see you, fam. Gary, Canty, appreciate you. Perez, appreciate you, man. And Brian Smith. Yeah. Hector Hayes. Yeah. This $1 is what they betted. Now, granted, Jerry Jones is upset with David Mulugheta because of the way this brother moves and walk and got momentum going. He done established and signed over $1 billion in contracts. And for what I was told, basically, is that he got a point or an axe to grind to prove a point that, hey, I can tame the beast. You guys may have failed on him, but I'm going to let you know that he can bleed. And I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm not finna let nobody turn me around the inverse. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. You got to understand that I'm Jerry Wayne Jones. No. And you trying to boss me around, I'm going to tell you what. I don't give a dog if you were born in Texas Stadium. Because David Mulugeta from Dallas, right? I want to talk to Micah myself. You ain't finna show me up, and y'all can pull up 48 laws of power. And there's one thing that says never outshine. I'm talking too highly of this particular conversation. Let me temper it down just a little bit.
What are the options and what are the different ways that this could go with Micah Parsons over the next, let's say, 14 days, which is the run up to the opener against the Eagles?
Yes, sir.
One possibility would be sometime in probably, let's call it the next 5 to 7 days. He returns to practice. He says, screw it. I'm going to play deal or no deal. I'm under.
Oh, my God, Bandit Boy. Bandit Boy for life. Bandit Boy for life. He says, basically, we would all say the same thing if we were billionaires. You know what? I wish I had my button. He ain't lying, we wouldn't get in the way. This is the ego thing. This is not about money. Yeah. David Mulugeta don't have to work another day in his life. He's set. He's good. He's making good money. To a point, Jerry Jones don't have to work another day in his life. He's set in his life. He got more years behind him than in front of him. Or he may know the Bohemian Grove secret codes and stuff like that. For everlasting life on here. But I'm going to say this, though. You're right. But Jerry, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not. If Elon Musk woke up with Jerry Jones money, he would go and buy an AI version of a Tesla helicopter, fly to the highest point, jump out of it, and before he hit the ground, probably slice his neck, because Jerry may be rich to us, but to Elon Musk and to some of these other boys that's making crazy kangaroo high money, oh my God, he don't even stand toe-to-toe to them boys. So Jerry could be rich, poor, I don't know, or rich, broke, however you want to call it. And to this particular degree, the way they moving and the way that they are operating, we can see signs of that, And that's just the reality of it, Cowboy Nation. Yes, Jerry, more money than us, but not more money than his other billionaire compatriots, by the way. But it is for what it is. Come on with it. I got this. Come on, let's listen to the rest
contract. I'm going to go out there and play with the guys, and we'll worry about this after the season. That's one possibility. Second possibility is Micah, who, remember, has said this entire time that he has back soreness, and that's why he's not participating, because hold-ins are not a magic bullet to not get fined. However, if you're injured, that's a different type of a case. Micah could say, hey, my back isn't healthy enough, or hey, I'm simply not going out there. The Cowboys then at that point would have to decide what levers are they going to pull. They could suspend him for conduct detrimental to the team. They've already had the ability throughout this process, if they wanted to say, hey, you're not really injured, we're going to fine you. But they could start coming after his money. If he doesn't play in those games and he's not getting paid for those games, suspension or otherwise, certainly that's going to be significant money, but also for a guy who's going to sign a contract that's worth somewhere in the range of $45 million per year, you probably are okay taking the short-term financial loss. So that's the second possibility. The third possibility is that the Cowboys seriously entertain trade offers for Micah Parsons. And this is something that we have talked about going all the way back to Super Bowl Sunday, that there were internal conversations among the Cowboys, not necessarily about, hey, should we trade Micah? What can we get? But more so, is it wise to wrap up this much money in 3 players? We're already paying Dak $60 a year. We're paying CeeDee Lamb around 35. If they were to entertain offers, the price, in my mind, and based on my feel for the market, would be somewhere in the range of what the Bears sent for Khalil Mack to the Raiders a number of years ago. That was
I didn't think about that. What happened? The Khalil Mack original contract. What was that, y'all? Let me see. Y'all got me thinking now. And I don't think that would happen, though. Is it Khalil Mack big trade to the he was with the Raiders and then he went to the Bears, right? Or he was with the Bears and went to the Raiders. Which one of them teams that Khalil Mack went to? He was originally with who, right? With the Raiders? What was the details? What was the details of that trade? What was the details of the Khalil Mack big trade back in the days? I'm trying to figure it out. 2 first picks and something else. Let me see. Okay, from the Raiders, he went to the Raiders to the damn Bears, right? The Bears. Let me see what we got here. So it says the trade date was 2018. The Chicago Bears, Khalil Mack, did 2020. So it was 2020 second round pick. It was 2020 7th round pick. Swapped with offensive lineman Arlington Hambrick. And then the Oakland received 2019 first round pick. That was Josh Jacobs. They received 2019 6th round pick. Then they received 2020 first round pick, which was 19th overall. Damian Arnett. And then, oh my gosh, what a bust of a bust trade. Like, at the end of the day, when we go back and look at this hindsight, hold on, let me see. Remove this. Remove the, while I'm doing this, bear with me, Cowboy Nation. While I'm doing this, hold on. Boom. I'm going to be looking over here. Yeah, let me see if I can do this, okay? All right. All right, and let me see. All right, boom. Bear with me. It was horrible, Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight 2020. But this was horrible. Yeah. Yeah, come on, man. Come on with it. Yeah. All right, so hold on, bear with me. I know I'm giving y'all terrible podcasting right now because I'm not explaining it, but I'm trying to research it while I'm here, Boom. Let me go right here. Okay, I'm gonna just get my AI people to help me out then. AI Tisha, help your brother out on this because explain to this why this was horrible and these sorts of things because at the end of the day, they didn't really get anything. Come on.
In the case of the Khalil Mack 2018 trade, it looked like a bold move at the time. The Raiders got multiple first-round picks to rebuild. The Bears got one of the best defensive players in football and instantly made their defense elite. But in hindsight, the deal ended up looking bad. The Raiders didn't maximize their draft picks. Josh Jacobs was a great hit, but Damon Arnett and Bryan Edwards didn't pan out. The Bears paid Mack a record-breaking contract, but the team never went deep in the playoffs, and injuries reduced his impact over time. Just a few years later, Chicago had to trade Mack to the Chargers for far less than what they gave up to get him, basically losing the long-term value of the original blockbuster trade.
Man, you've been better just to keep him. Hey, you've been better just to keep him. So I don't want us to be doing none of these. The Cowboys got 3 first-round draft picks for Micah Parsons and a conditional X, Y, and Z. And we end up having to receive a Mozzie, a Taco Charlton, and a Schoonmaker. With that, hey, that would be great. And no offense to Mozzie, but I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it 1,000 with y'all. Look, it goes back to my statement right here.
Hold on. You have a choice. You can have the boat or the mystery box.
What, are you crazy? We'll take the boat.
Not so fast, Lois. A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we've wanted one of those.
Then let's just...
We'll take the box.
We'll take the box. You gave up a boat for free tickets to a crappy comedy club.
You gave up Micah Parsons for a taco, a Schoonmaker, and a Mozzie. Yeah, man, I'm just telling y'all how it is, man. We don't want to do all of that. Pay the man, you know what he can bring to the table. Okay, even if you throw the negatives, right? If you throw the negatives out and say, hey, he's a one-trick pony, he's an off-ball linebacker that playing the edge, well, damn it, you getting at least an edge rusher that's going to give you double-digit sacks, north of 90 pressures. Just figure out how to put some pieces around that. Don't depend only on Parsons. If you, Ray, in the chat says, you pay for what you get. Can't make this stuff up.
The headline was 2 first-round picks. Really, though, there was a second-round pick going back. There were other picks involved. It's like a little less than 2 first-round picks. If you're the Cowboys and that's the price, that would be a significant value, especially because then you're freeing up $40+ million per year in cash and cap space to rebuild at other spots. But does Jerry Jones want to rebuild when he's 82, 83 years old? It still seems unlikely. I know they've gotten calls. I don't know that the teams that have called entirely know if they're actually considering this or just having conversations. Right now, everything that's been said publicly by the Cowboys indicates that they are fully planning for Micah Parsons one way or another to be on the team in week 1. If at any point they come off of that, there would be teams that would be highly interested in making a trade for Micah Parsons.
Is it already here, y'all? Hold on. I'm going to hijack Michael Irvin, Dan. Hold on. You talking about a playmaker? I'm finna be prime time. I'm finna intercept that doggone podcast. Hold on. Hey, I'm finna intercept Michael Irvin. Hold on right quick. You're going to go to YouTube, right? And it's on his page right now. It should be at the top of my page. It should be so many people watching right about now. It's literally on top of my page. All right, I'm finna intercept.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
As I remember. And there were some things that, as time got along, I put a rosy picture on. Well, they weren't so rosy, and wasn't quite as hot as I thought.
It's picked off by Law Nation.
With the reality and everything else, it sure back some good memories.
Yeah, Jerry, it really did, Jerry. And Jerry, what you're talking about, I find fascinating too, because it's the reality of life. And I think more so now in today's game than even was in our game. And let me explain everybody.
Pause him right quick. Y'all go to his page. I'm going to click this link right here. Go to Michael Irvin page and say, Law Nation sent me. Flood them with Law Nation. Yeah. Law Nation sent me. There you go.
That's what we're talking about here. What Jerry and I would always talk about, I said, Jerry, being a great leader doesn't start in the fourth quarter. Because look at the difference now. You may have a guy like that making $60 million. You may have another guy on this team making $400,000, $500,000. So if you wait to the fourth quarter to go to that guy and say, come on, let's go. We need to win. And you haven't said anything to him. He's going to say, get the hell out of my face. You make all that money. You go win. Are you shitting me? But if you show up at that guy's function, whatever he has going on in his little neighborhood, you show up for free.
For free.
Then you get the right to say what you got to say in that fourth quarter. Get your buddy Gil. Let's go win this game. Because he knows
shout out to you, Andrew.
Deeper than just getting
remix revenge
when he's not getting that much. That's the difference in winning championships. And that's what I hope this current team gets out of what that team had. That's why I say I don't take it as, do we hang over the current team? I take this documentary as saying, grab ye and glean whatever knowledge you can to go do what you got to do. That's the way I see it, Jerry, for this current team. How do you see it for this current team?
But one thing you're saying is that that was then, this is now, things change.
Right.
But it is a mistake to throw the way it was and things that happened then.
Well, y'all some real ones over there. I see y'all in the chat.
But you do take some of those principal things and you adjust them, just like you were talking about, because the facts are that about 10 or 12% of the players in the league today are making 2/3 of the money.
Right.
12%.
So it's more important to do it now.
What's your point? More important. More important to go to those intangible.
Right.
Passion. More important to point on, look, it's not just about this game and right now.
Right.
It's about your teammates. It's about where you've been, and it's about where you're going to. And that's easy to arm wave. But I'm sitting here talking to a man that walked the talk and lived it. And so I will say this: the
send Michael Irvin a super chat, y'all.
Has to do to some
I see y'all.
With the timing. But I'd like to think that
send me the super chat too.
I'm there
though,
on any basis,
I'm just saying.
And I know you are. And so as time has gone along, we do see how proud we are of what we got to do when we were on the field working together. But what I want everybody to hear me say is that I'm proud to be working with Michael Irvin today.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
Today is more real to me than 30 years ago.
But I don't think you're going to be here 30 years after Micah Parsons finishes his career.
Over. And so we have, and I try to tell young players that, look, we're no different than the relationships you've had up until now. And if we get in here and work together, and we're going to personally mix, we're going to have times when it's fun. We're going to have times when it's a little not fun. Michael and I negotiated this contract, just the two of us, sitting down there negotiating that contract, what have you. And he was hard to guard. I'm telling you on exactly what he thought he was worth. But we did have one of our greatest memories is in really negotiating our business together. Well, guess what? Not only did it impress me, it bonded me. We do business together today, 30 years later. It's no different, whether it be our age differences or what have you, when you bond or when you make friends or when you have a relationship, it not only pays, it's a product of being together 20, 30 years later. And it's not always at the time when it's everybody's peak and you're ahead of the ball. It can be times when you need to help each other.
And Jerry, you're right. You're right. Now, I didn't have that in mind, but we have had some conversations in those negotiations rooms and stuff.
Michael just said it.
To be fair, Jerry Jones looked good for his age on this video.
The table and said, "Now I'm telling you, Jerry, I can't do it. I just cannot do it any different than that. That isn't right. That just isn't right." And I said, Michael.
Oh my God!
There's an old West Texas town. It's called El Paso.
Reginald, El Paso.
El Paso.
I'm gonna tell this story. This joker right here, right? I'm in there. We're going back and forth about Jerry Rice and how much he makes, and Jerry comes to tell me about, well, Jerry Rice won Super Bowls. You know, we just haven't gotten. He's just throwing everything out. You know, I come up with the boss. Look, this is where I feel comfortable, and I can play my game. Are you shitting me? Pass him the number. He goes through this long conversation about
JBB boy.
Dad and some things that went on in this town in Texas. He said that town was El Paso. I Paso on this number. This joke is tricky. I started laughing so hard.
Michael.
Hey, that was funny, Jerry. Jerry, let me say this. But I appreciate you for that, because all of it, and you're right. And you're right in this sense. I'm able to be in the room doing business with people like you for the last 30 years. And I remember when, no joke, and all jokes aside, I remember when you said to me, I want you in the room. You know, I get used to talking about numbers like these and things like this. And I remember that when you said it in the documentary, let it roll off your tongue. The man told me $1 million. Because you're coming from where I was coming from. I was like, man, I couldn't even let that roll off my tongue, you know. But talking about it, prepare me for the rest of, you know, what we've been dealing with the last.
Well, as you said, I was so poor that you didn't even put an R on the
I couldn't afford that other O and
I
R.
was real poor.
That was poor,
he
man.
beans and bologna.
And that
You
changed.
played like you were poor. You
Appreciate
really
you,
did.
V.
Yeah.
You played, you lived, getting the top, can you say, value out of it. And I'll never forget Micah was having an important meeting.
Y'all
Mike
drop some flames over there on Michael Irvin page.
Having to not practice at 2-a-days. And he had to go meet with this grand settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And NBC and law enforcement, a lot of people had to meet with Michael and Eric Williams to decide to give them a lot of money because they had heard them. They had heard them. And I'm not going to get into detail, but I was a little mad at Michael for missing and having to still keep that thing out there.
Yeah.
And we were in Austin, and they were going to big meet for looked like the Vietnam Peace Conference. It was 20 people sitting around there. And finally, I cooled down. I told Mike, asking my daddy, 30 years after when we
All
were
I asked. Right.
store, I asked him, did he burn the store down?
Right.
Because a lot of people
for that insurance
thought that Dad had burned the store down for insurance. Well, he hadn't. Well, 30 years later, I'm having a beer with him, and I looked over. Why I did, I'll never know. And said, Dad, did you burn that store down? And I mean, he turned white, and he said, you haven't gone 30 years thinking that I might have done that. Or he said, son, the mortar and those bricks were my blood. He said, that's the most precious thing to me in the world. I didn't even have enough money to build it back. No, I didn't burn it down. Well, Micah took that story, none but hold to me, and I had the attorneys that were in the room tell me. And he looked over at everybody that was sitting there with him trying to make this settlement. When my boy, just like they did with Jerry, asked me, did I do this 30 years from now? Y'all tell me what that's worth when I have to try to explain to him rather than that. I'll never forget it. Eloquent. And all of the attorneys that were in there representing all those people, they said it was the most eloquent thing, timely thing we've ever seen. And I don't know what the settlement was, but they walked out of there and really tried to financially ease what they'd done to Michael and what they'd done to Eric and falsely accuse him of some not good stuff. And that's how it is. That is the truth.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because we were missing practice, and I was hot about missing practice. So we're in this big mediation, man, with news and the lawyers from the police and everything, and we have our attorney there. I did all the talking. The talking. And what Jerry said, I'll explain to people. What Jerry was talking about was, I said, oh my goodness! After being accused of such a heinous act, and I wasn't even there, and you guys perpetuated on the media.
Appreciate you, Ghostface Gaming.
I could never, ever walk in this room like you men walked in this room today. You walked in dressed in your nice suits with the briefcase. You sat down to do business as businessmen. every time I walk in a room for the rest of my life, people will think about this. Never will I be able to walk in like you walked in after this day, right? They settle, they give us millions of dollars because they don't want to hear that on the witness stand, right? They give us millions of dollars. Big E and I, when we're leaving, coming back to practice, Big E turned to me and said, hey, our attorney was good, but shit, we didn't even need him. We could have just had you in there talking, And then we came back to practice, and of course, we went on to do what we did. Jerry, that's amazing you remember that, Jerry. I also remember, like you said, we did have some tough negotiations. I remember when you were threatening to send me to Cincinnati. I'm going to go to Cincinnati. I was like, oh, God, okay.
Him and Carl Pickens would have been nice.
Michael, Jack with me and you'll be going to Cincinnati. I'll tell you that right.
And I was like, I understand, but everywhere I go, I'm going to win the championship. Cincinnati will get there first. You know what I'm saying? We're going back and forth with it. But let me get back to this documentary, boss. But let me tell you, what impressed me the most, really, and you just talked about it. I talked about being direct. I listened to you in this documentary. You talk about you're great at borrowing money, and you also took it to the place already to borrow from Jimmy Hoffa. You talked about my upbringings earlier.
Yeah.
And I correlate that to this. I mean, Jerry was so direct, and that's why I always have measurement. This dude was ready to do anything to get to where you are. And you want to show people it takes that kind of tenacity sometimes. Most people think you just stumble up on great things or greatness. They don't know you live in it daily. Obviously, when I saw this thesis that you wrote in college, I was like, oh my God, that I never knew. That I never knew that you wrote a thesis on the system. And then you come into the NFL and it's just revitalized, not just, the whole league on the business side. Jerry, what do you think about that when you see this journey in the documentary and you see how it is played out?
Well, I had, and by the way, Jimmy and I were on the same team when we were in college, and we had a wonderful thing happen to us. We won the national championship, and when we were seniors, and it was a highly competitive thing for me to get on the team and earn a starting job on the team and be a part of the team.
I love that.
I loved it. But it hurt me. It hurt me a hell of a lot more than it did the rest of them. I'd come in the dressing room and our trainer from Virginia would say, Jones, you've got to have the lowest tolerance for pain of any kid we've ever had at this school. Toughen up, toughen up. And I'd say, damn it, Granny, it hurts me more than it does everybody. I need a medal. I'm having pain when nobody else is out here, and yet I'm still going. Give me a medal for what I wanted and what I mean. But I loved football.
Okay.
And so I knew that I was not going to be Michael Irvin and take that thing to the highest level of all, but I wanted to be involved in football. I would have been a coach. I would have been a coach.
Well, you coach now, huh? Coach Jerry.
But coaches didn't seem like they financially were where I wanted to be.
Okay.
And I was looking up and I wanted to be more. Well, had I known I'm paying them what I'm paying them now, I'd have been a damn coach at that time. But still, I wanted more than that. But I always had that love there. And my coach, Frank Brawls, got me interviews with all the great coaches of the time. This was 1965.
Right.
And I interviewed Bear Bryant. I interviewed Paul Dietzel. I interviewed Woody Hayes. All of those that maybe not names anybody's familiar with that are listening. But these were the names. Pro football hadn't really made the top of the chart in terms of the sports page. But these were the names. Well, he got me interviews with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coaches named Bear Bryant. You take the fake out of me, there's not much left, he said. How about that? We're all selling. We're not only selling the players, we're selling the fans. I'm the bear. I need to be the bear. And it was so enlightening to me to be involved in that at the time. So I always wanted to be here, but I really thought it had passed me by when I was involved very early. I had no money, but I had really made great acquaintances, and I had maybe an opportunity to borrow my way in to the pro football. It was the AFL. There was a guy named Joe Robbie that had gotten the franchise for Miami. I was down there. Gene and I, my wife, went down, and I was actually staying in the room next to Mr. Robbie, and he was talking, and I was talking with somehow using my financial connection to be involved in the Dolphins. Well, I pushed the first desk up the Miami Dolphin office to build the first office that were there during those times. But I wanted to somehow, some way, be involved in the ownership. I'd go into lobbies where the AFL was meeting, and I'd sneak off and go to those meetings. And I'd sit out in those lobbies, and when Bud Adams and when those guys that started, Lamar Hunt, would come out in the lobby, I was about 23, and I'd just go over and introduce myself and shake hands and just talk to them. I wanted so much to be a part of football. And so that was the passion that was there. The moral of the story.
What's the
and
moral?
Of course, you represent that in so many ways. Man, follow your passion. Your passion. That's where it is.
You wanted to buy the Dolphins, man.
To do some things that we got to be a part of when we got in the NFL.
Yeah, Jerry, but it also causes you to do some crazy things when you got that crazy passion. Because when I heard you talking about meeting with those undesirables, and things like that, I was like, man, this man is willing to be killed for his dream. I thought that was crazy. I'm glad your dad talked you out of it. You know what I mean?
Well, he did.
Yeah.
He did. And he told the story. He said, I did talk Jerry out of it. I told him, he said, you told me, he said, get this football thing out of that head, boy. He said, you got to go get to work. You got to live life. You had a heck of a time of it in school and football, but get it out of your mind and come on, let's go. I need your help. Well, it still didn't get out of my mind, as you can see and imagine where we were. But I did have the chance right there. And the Central States sent $1 billion letter of credit to attest to my ability to buy the San Diego Chargers. They sent that to them. And Lamar Hunt and all the people knew that I was qualified to do it, although I didn't have the money. I was born it. And so obviously it didn't happen. I was listening to my father very much, very much. I told him, I said, Dad, you don't have anything to do with this. I said, I know you're hardworking and everything, but this is my dream, and I'm not going to ask you to get involved in this anyway. Boy, he looked over at me. And I mean, he could look at me hard, and he said, boy, don't you tell me I don't have anything to do with it. He said, I don't have much, but if the wrong people said pay the interest and you didn't have it, or they got everything I got, don't you even say I don't have anything to do with it. I do. And of course, about 4 months later, Lamar Hunt and Tex Schramm of the Dallas Cowboys met at the DFW airport, shook hands, and merged the AFL with the NFL. And immediately that team became twice as much. And my father told a story for the rest of his life about how he taught me how to making that kind of money on that much appreciation. But he really didn't do it. He was right at the time.
Well, I'm glad for your father. And I love hearing the story about how he brought bands and did amateur contests in the grocery store. I just think that's fascinating also from the promoting side. And you hear people always talking about all of the promoting ability that you have, Jerry.
All right, so that's Michael Irvin and Jerry Jones. Citing states too many fans have an employee mindset instead of an employer. No wonder how he can get away with this. Much bull sugar with the fan base. Yeah, I feel you, man. That was a long time ago, right? And Jerry Jones originally, from what he said, according to his account, he wanted to buy the Dolphins and didn't have enough money, but he scraped away and got, $1 billion worth of credit to his name. and he attempted to buy the Chargers, and that didn't go through, and the merger happened and all of that good stuff. So you guys follow along with the conversation there on Playmakers channel, and you guys can get all of that good ingredients.
To know for sure that you were going to win a Super Bowl, then it would shock the world. That's what it means. It means the same to me as it's ever meant. It meant the same as when I bought the Cowboys to step up there and be a part of a Super Bowl. I, though, look at it, you can call it rationalization, you can call it anything you want to, but very few people have been involved in as many Super Bowls as we've been in. And every year, in a manner of speaking, some years you've got more players, some years you got it set up better than others, but you've got a chance to win it. You do have a real chance to win it. The whole league is set up so that you have the ones that don't have get. In other words, the rules, the draft itself, when you draft, all of that. So it is very understandable why the teams that finish the lowest have the best chance to build their team for the future, to make it go for the future. So the system gets you kind of in a 500 mode, if you will. Now, Michael, really, in the last 23 years, since the Super Bowls, we're the sixth winningest team in the NFL, the sixth. Now you say, but Jerry, you haven't smelled the game, and you haven't. Well, many times people go out and try for it and don't smell the victory or smell the participation. I always know and I always think, and I'm always willing to do what it takes. A year ago, I made Dak the highest paid player ever in the history of the NFL. At the same time, I made the receiver about the third or fourth highest paid receiver in the NFL, Lamb. So I don't have a cramped up hand. I do know how to wiggle a pencil.
What's your point?
And write
What's
a
your
check
point?
What's your
try to
point,
be
Jerry?
funny about it. It's a question of doing it as smartly as we can do it. And we have some really top players right now, and we need to make sure we're judicious about how we allocate that. That money. It's for the right thing, and that's why you see me
we in purgatory,
as
man.
involved as I am. Nobody can ultimately do that any better than I can. Not for the Dallas Cowboys.
Somebody
because
can
I've
do
got
it better.
a good picture. I mean, a hell of a picture of what I think the revenues that impact the Cowboys for the whole league. I've got a great picture of, if anybody does, of the future and what's going to be coming down the pike. And I live on looking around corners. So I know in my mind, as well as anybody, where we're going to be. So my decisions that I can make relative to how much we allocate to a player with the Cowboys is good. What's not your question, though, when you're going to get up there to where you're competing. In my mind, we've had about 4 years that we were sitting right there knocking on the door over, let's say, the last 20. And we should have nailed,
the last 20?
We should have nailed two during that particular time. Cavalier to say that, but we should have, but we didn't. But that doesn't discourage me from going after one this year.
Well, I hope you can pull some strings, Jerry.
We talk about all the business and the great business that you have done and how great you've done for the league. And then you hear people try to throw, and I have to do this, try to throw the thing that where they say is, well, Jerry has wasted a lot of money by not paying players sooner. Like, and that's how you get into Micah Parsons' situation.
Yeah.
What do you hear? What do you think when you hear that one criticism about the great businessman that this documentary is about to show us?
Yeah. I would like to list right beside that the ones that I've paid early that I wish I hadn't paid early.
Lord, don't do it.
Speaking.
Don't say it,
the
Jerry.
The ones that I have paid as early as what we're talking about here that I shouldn't have paid early. That we should have seen a few more things come down the pike. And so I let me say this. I have never not written a check because of having paid the players I paid early. I've never not written a check to get that done. So it hasn't kept me from being able to write a check. What it does keep me from doing is husband the dollars so that I don't make those mistakes that you might have. Let me say this. and you know this, it's a word that nobody wants to hear, but people get hurt playing this game. And it was one time, if they got hurt, it had an X impact on the team for the next several years. At the kinds of salaries that you're paying, let's say the top 10 or 12% of the players in the league today, when those guys aren't available to play, that is a major hit on the rest of the team or the team's opportunity to go forward. So you better be real careful when you're laying things like a plus $100 million worth of guarantee on a player and not be aware of this game. You and I both know that everybody that walks out here is vulnerable to a degree of not playing again. And keep this in mind, what you're paying a player for, a player, not in any way. I'm the biggest fan in the world, and I appreciate what a player has done up until that point, especially one that has really done well enough to be in the top 10 or 12% of the paid players. But none of what you're paying him is for what he's done in the past, not a cent. It's all about what he's going to do. Well, if you have any measurement at all about making a mistake, there's a chance that you could pay that money and he not be around to help you win the championship or help you play the season. That risk alone puts in perspective having that much at stake on any one player. Everybody's got the issue. That's not Jerry Jones's problem. The Cowboys, that's everybody's problem. But it's what keeps you from just being what looks to be the obvious, and that is pay the player. The player has earned that. He has earned it.
Who just won the Super Bowl?
What you're paying him for.
The Eagles, right? They got $29 million, man.
For the team, for the fans in the future. And so you got a way, for instance, if a player is, let's say, over a 3 or 4 year period, I'm going to just arm wave numbers. But let's say you were talking about $100 million. Well, that $100 million in this particular case, if you'll take a few liberties with me, might get you 3 players. Well, where are you better off, the 1 player or 3 players making a third of the money? Where can you be better? What are the odds of losing that player to an injury as opposed to the odds of the 3 players losing one of them to the injury? Now, that's not forgetting that Michael Irvin, and I say that, and I know everybody watching knows I mean it. What Michael Irvin meant to our championships is unanimously known. And so you say, well, what do you give somebody to do that? Probably a little bump from what you negotiated, and we negotiated back when we negotiated. But that's a little bit of hindsight there, too. So where am I coming with all this? The real question is, and any player at this level of pay, are you better having 3 players that are all pro players? Or are you better off having that 1 player or the 3 players to help you win a championship? Well, the answer is, we'll get both. Have that player plus
look at Michael Irvin's face.
That's where competitively the rules keep us all within the range of competing for the Super Bowl. Parity.
But Jerry, okay, and so what I'm taking from this is like, okay, so, and I'll just take Michael. If you got Michael done earlier, could have saved $5 million a year. You're saying the risk of that, the risk of paying you doesn't outweigh the risk of that big injury that can cripple your salary cap paying a guy like Mike Parsons. I personally think
that's the price of doing business.
Michael over those other 3 players. I mean, this time. Not always.
Teach him, Mike. I'm gonna take him there you go. There you go, Mike.
Would you take Herschel Walker over the players we got for Herschel Walker? I know you wouldn't.
That's a good comeback. That's a good comeback.
No. Now you got him. Jab him, Mike.
But look at the double
Mike.
handful
Mike,
of players we got for 1 player with Herschel Walker.
Swing, Mike.
Right.
Tell him, coach. Tell him about the coach.
But that was, Jerry, and it's just, that was different because Herschel Walker gave you one element. That was a run game, and we were at to build a whole team. We were trying to build a whole team. Right now, you have a pretty good offense. You got a pretty good offense. You got an offense to put up 30, 35 points a game, 30 points a game, I think. Now, what you're going to need is somebody to get to the passer on the other side. That's why I say I give him value over even the other three, because I don't know any other three that's going to be able to get to a quarterback better than Micah Parsons. And what I have offense makes
yes. Okay, well, let me reply back. What I offered Michael 60 days ago,
Micah,
would get those 3 or 4 players. And yet I offered it to him because I agree with you.
Right.
I was saying right then I wanted him more than 3 players, what he has been offered, what he has been guaranteed, what he has been offered. So it's not a question of whether or not I agree with you or not. I do agree with you very much. And that's a big part of the issue, is that at where my offer was, and
what's the offer?
We do have those issues of
what's the
him
offer?
saying, well, my agent wasn't sitting there. And so we don't think it was an offer, and we don't think it's a valid one. You and I would tell them you can do some pretty good business without an agent sitting there. And I've, as you well know, I've done most of my negotiating without an agent in the room. And so I like to do that because where was the agent after we did our deal when many times we needed to work things out and work things out, team life and all that kind of stuff. It was really us. And so that's why I like to be there at this time.
Yeah, and it was, Jerry. But as you said, Jerry, those were different times, and we're so at a different place now. You know, those numbers in those days were pretty much going to stay relative to who was the highest paid at the position, what did you accomplish. Now, the numbers are so astronomical. You know, you said you made a great offer. Was that offer, was what we hear, would it have made Michael, you don't have to tell me the number, but would it have made Michael the highest paid non-quarterback in the league today, which we have all heard that's one of the things that he and his agent wanted. Yeah. Without telling me, would that offer have made?
I can't necessarily say, but I don't want to hedge the question. Okay. It would have made him the highest guaranteed player other than a quarterback in the NFL.
That's fair though. That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Other than a quarterback.
Other than the quarterback.
Other than the NFL.
That's guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Okay. And
that's breaking news right there.
So
that's breaking news.
Do you remember Emmett's the time that he didn't held out and we didn't have him for 2 games?
Correct.
Okay? That wasn't because I didn't want to give him the highest money ever paid a running back. It was because we were wanting the number to be up with the quarterback. And so at that particular time, that was the holdup. We finally bridged that gap and got that done.
Oh, so
and he, of course, became the highest running back ever paid at that time.
And I always thought that's what he wanted, because I remember coming to you and said, Jerry, I don't care if you give him $1 more than Thurman Thomas, get him in camp. I remember having that.
That wasn't the case. That was not
that's what I had. I remember having that argument with you. And I didn't know they were talking about quarterback money.
Yes, sir.
I was at running back money.
Absolutely. Quarterback money at the time. Now, having said that,
all right.
Are you hinting to me that Michael's asking for quarterback money?
No, I'm not.
No scratch, don't lie. Come on.
Anything, but I would say this: the world would know that I want Micah if they knew what I had offered him, and he knows what I offered him. So the world would know that I want Micah to play on the team and that I respect him for what he can bring to the team. And now, as it turns out in this particular case, you say, well, what happens? Well, what happens is that we have a contract, and there's this year remaining under the contract. And then in the NFL, I get at our volition to extend that contract another year. We'll pay him like a franchise and another one after that. So we really got 3 years to work this thing out. and it's a basic contract that's there to go. And I did that with Dak, and we couldn't agree. So Dak played his last year of his contract, and then we franchised him. And so it's exactly what happened with Dak. And we moved forward. And of course, ultimately, we got a contract, made Dak the highest paid player in the NFL. So the precedent is
some bullshit in there, man.
like Dak. But in this particular case, then Micah comes in and plays this year under his contract. If it doesn't, it's very costly for everybody. Just a little similar to what happened when we didn't sign Emmett and we didn't do well our first 2 games. He was an integral part of what we were doing. But at that particular time, we got that worked out and went on to win a Super Bowl, as you recall.
Yeah, and Dak is the quarterback, and Jerry, quarterback position, you can really, you even though it's been unfortunate for Dak, he's had some injuries and everything. How much does that play into it? That okay, even Dak, who's a protected guy at quarterback, had those injuries, and now you're talking about a guy like Micah, who is not as protected at running around. So I got to ascertain from what you said to me earlier that this thing also counts into your understanding of this contract negotiation.
Okay, Mike, I'd like to turn the table on you a little bit and say, which is the most, the most important increment? The top-rated quarterback,
no doubt,
or the top-rated pass rusher?
Yeah, no doubt, top-rated quarterback, no doubt.
Yeah, okay, so that's what Dak had going for him because he was out of contract, and Micah is a pass rusher, outstanding. We need him to win, and we should have him. You don't win like that, Jerry. 3 years, like it is right now. We can have him 3 years without having this agreement. He should though, in my mind, because he'd be the highest guaranteed player ever on defense. Was what he's been offered.
And okay, and I'll let it go at that. I'll let it go at that. I'll drop this one thing on you because this is.
When we wanted to send the details to the agent told us to stick it up our ass.
That's why he pissed off. That's why he pissed off at David. Come on, baby. Come on.
People going to ask.
Mike and I talked. Mike and I talked.
That's why.
And then we were going to send it over to the agent. And we had our agreements on term, amount, guarantees, everything.
I need to hear David Mulligeta's side.
And the agent said, don't bother because we've got all that to negotiate. Well, I'd already negotiated. I'd already moved off my mark on several areas. And so the issue, very frankly, is we've had the negotiation in my mind. And the agent's trying to get his nose in it right now and try to come in there and improve off the mark that we'd already said. It's the mama-daddy deal. You go into mama and she won't do it. And she's the boss, so much. She won't do it. So you run into daddy, daddy says do it. And then you go back in and say, mama, daddy said it was all right. It's the old mama, daddy deal. We've all been there and done that. Well, we've got this thing resolved in my mind for the Dallas Cowboys. And we've got it done. And if the agent wants to finish up the detail, which is should, and do all the paperwork, and he can do that. And we're ready to go. But as far as the amount of money, the years, the guarantees, all of that, we've negotiated that.
Jared, people are going to say, how could you have negotiated that with Micah? And I know they'll take our conversation about negotiation and say, just because it worked with Michael Irvin don't mean it works with Micah Parsons. So what are you going to say to that when they say, well, why not deal with the agent? Why if he said, well, you said,
stick it up
your but why not still send that over and we start working off that contract regardless? He'll take it, red line, put in what he has to put in, and he sends it back. Why at least have a conversation going, even though it's not mouth to mouth is on paper. But why not? Why wouldn't he take it? Why not send something back? And how would you respond if he did take it and chopped it all up and sent something back?
Yeah, Micah. I mean, not Micah. Michael. And please forgive me since the subject is Micah. Okay. I have agreed to give more money than has ever been given in terms of guaranteed money than anyone ever has as far as a defensive player. I've done that. Now, I am the cat that writes the check. Okay?
Okay.
Now, Micah's got 3 years with the Cowboys left. He's got 3 years.
Damn.
At some point, somebody has to have the say over the other. At some point, it has
trying
to be
to
that way.
debo.
My job is managing the check. Okay? Micah's got to do the playing. Where's the least important part of this whole equation we're talking about? What is the least incremental part of the whole
trying
equation?
to cut him out. He trying to buck
The
break that boy.
attorney or the agent.
Ooh,
okay? He works for Micah. Ooh. Okay? He's not the principal here in any way. In any way. They're in here to make their percentage. They're in here to basically, yes, advise Micah. Micah. Come over to the office and I'll show you exactly what I offered Micah. We got it in the back. It's with all written down, everything to go. Come down and look at that.
I'm gonna get over there.
Come on over there.
You can sure look at it. You can sure absolutely look at it.
Oh my God!
Entire point. Who is it that basically says this is ultimately recognizing we're trying to come together for an agreement, but absolutely, who is it that can go with it? And so the facts are, I don't know that I've ever been around. I've never tried to buy anything. I've never tried to do anything that I actually was going to bring all of the services and somebody else was going to do all the money. But because the in-between guy wasn't exactly the guy that I had fit there, that kept you from doing the deal.
Right.
That's exactly what's happening here. So many times in this industry, you have a different agenda going on with agents. A different agenda. They're playing a game. You tell me.
It's too much loose end, man.
Are agents incentivized to not only get the most for that player, but they're trying to get what? They're trying to get other players because they got a high agenda for that player.
Right.
That's their incentive. Okay. Attorneys, exactly the very same way. And as you know, I do a lot of business. I do a lot of business straight with the principals, not with the attorneys. I do my time when the deal gets done face to face with the principal, not with the attorneys.
Guarantees on the contract can be removed, y'all.
So
I'm just saying
that
the language can remove some of those guarantees.
Micah Parsons any more than the Cowboys or me. Nobody has ever offered him more than I have to play football.
No. You still got it. You still got to work it.
And Jerry, you know, people are going
still got to have your agent
up and taking and chop it up with everything that you say about the agent. Now, one thing I want to say, and I know I got to let you go. You said that who's the least important in the negotiations with that situation? That's the agent. I concur with that conclusion, but I don't want now. This is I'm not doing an interview here. It's just me. I don't want the least important dude messing up the two most important dudes. That's why somehow I need you two to figure this thing out. With somehow with whatever you got to do with the least important dude, but you got to come together and figure this thing out. However you call it. You know,
Michael,
you guys got the most at stake, and we need to figure this out.
Michael, let me just say this to you. What did you do? What did you do? We don't even have to have a hypothetical. What did you do? You and I worked it out.
Right.
Did you have an agent? Did you have an agent? But no, was he sitting there with us?
No, it was us.
It was us. It was sitting there with us. Yeah. And there was no infringement. Look at us. We have a lifetime relationship. We do. We have a lifetime relationship.
But Jerry, you put me in a lot.
Are you glad? Are you
two different situations, two different eras, two different eras.
Much that we have because what? It not only operating that way, not that there's not a lot of ways to operate, but operating that way has put me and you on the same page for a lot of years.
Right.
And I say that to Micah. I say that to him. You want to operate around here with me? Then can you say to him that what you do as a player can last for 20, 30 years if it's done right?
But Jerry, you probably won't be here 20, 30 years from now.
Can you say that?
And I do. Not just to him. I say it to C.D. Lamb. I say it to Dak. I say it to all of them. I really do. My concern here is Michael's more emotional than the other guys that we dealt with. You know what I mean? And the emotion is great. I just want his emotions in the right place when we hit the football field. You see, working for us, not against us.
Michael, do you remember this documentary actually covers it? But when we had a chance to get Dion,
you got to pick up the phone.
You were actually the first person that I talked to
in the office.
Came in and I said, "Here's what we're doing with Dion. Right. What we're going to do. This is higher than where we are.
Numbers. We talked numbers. We talked everything.
Oh my goodness! Then we turned around, got Emmett, we got Troy involved, and then we said, "Now let's take it to the whole team," and went in front of the whole team, and got up on that blackboard and showed the whole team what we were going to pay Dion to get him on there to help the team. I don't know if you remember how we approached that.
Oh, I remember.
It was very wide open here.
I remember.
Well, and it turned out that it was a fabulous thing for us. We got Dion, and there's no question he influenced us getting that Super Bowl to a lot of the degree. Not to take anything away from anybody else. My point is that there's nothing wrong with sitting here and having the one that's got as much or more emotion in this thing and what have you. There's nothing wrong with me talking directly with you or talking directly with a player. I fully expect you or anybody else to go out here and have an advisor, agents, accountants, everything that are involved. But for me to sit here and not eye to eye with you, we had a coach that I really wanted to hire. Really wanted to hire him. And he's one of the best coaches in the country. And finally, it got down to him coming to Dallas and sitting down, and we were sitting in my house. And he said, I'm going to need to call such and such. And I said, who's that? And he said, well, he's my advisor, kind of my agent. And I said, I don't do anything. I don't buy a car. I don't buy a house. I don't do anything without what he's there. And I said, anything? I said, do you talk to him before you talk to players? What about when you have a major problem? Is that who I'm going to be dealing with, or I'm going to be dealing directly with the coach with what you're doing? And, he sat right there and convinced me that he couldn't do anything unless he had that guy in the middle of us. And I said, look, we need to go our separate ways. He went out and got in the car, and we got another coach. The point is that these relationships are so sensitive in my mind. And because they do have a way of going outside the lines, you and I and our relationships over the years, our relationship, if we'd have left it to what was in a piece of paper and what was written down by us, it wouldn't have covered a lot of the ground we covered, would it?
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in it, but it wouldn't have at all.
Right.
So far away from what you could write down or what you could have anticipated. That's the kind of thing that makes me act the way I act.
Okay. And
you're the cause of it. You're the cause of it.
And Jerry, I know
you told me one time we didn't draft Randy Moss because of what our experience and what had gone on.
Right.
Well, I want to tell you this: if I'd have known Randy Moss would be Michael Irvin and had what you got inside you, I would have drafted him in a New York Minute at that particular time. And it was a mistake not to draft him.
Yes, it was.
Very big
we
mistake.
Talk about that.
We talked about that.
We talked about that. Randy was supposed to extend my career, not Chris Carter's career. Like, he was supposed to extend my career, not Chris Carter's career. I know I got to let you go.
Now we're going all over the place here.
We are.
Because
I got my rebuttal.
Now listen, I appreciate
you, Jerry.
About Michael.
I appreciate it.
But I got a legal rebuttal for all of this.
I love Mike. I love Mike.
And for those who never deal with contracts, y'all all agreeing with Jerry, which is terrible. Y'all terrible,
man. I know
man.
he has all his heart into it. I just don't want.
And I can back mine up with facts too.
And that's why I was careful, because I'm with you. It's me. It's my life. I want to be in here making the decisions, but I don't want whatever going on between the agent and to get in the way of our player, Michael. That's all I say.
Michael, why don't you grab Micah and come over here with him and come with me and sit down here and bridge this gap and sit there and go do it?
It's one-sided.
Why don't you do that?
I will try to
one-sided.
Why don't you do that?
It's one-sided conversation.
His agent should be involved in terms of papering it and all that kind of stuff.
His agent needs to be involved.
I'd love it if you'd called me up, which we didn't, and said, listen, I got Micah and I want to bring him over here. And we've been through some of this before. Maybe y'all need me a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Hey, don't trust me. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna call David. I'll call them all and see anything. Sneak David in there too. We're gonna figure it all out. Boss. I know I gotta let you go. Holding you.
You got a lot of Sharpies around you. Yeah. David, one of them, and so we deal all the time. So wish you would.
I appreciate it, boss. I appreciate the time, man. And I know. I'm looking forward to. We're all looking forward to this season, Jerry. So. Let's get our guys on the field.
I'm so excited. I'm excited for Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And let me ask you about that right quick before I let you go, because I haven't had that chance, and we got off in the mic and everything just kind of ran away. But talk to me your thoughts on what this first season would be like with Brian Schottenheimer.
Okay, all right. I can listen to this.
Well, first of all, he's no novice. He's not new. He's been in the NFL 30-something years, plus he was raised around Marty Schottenheimer's table and sat there. So he's one of the most experienced people in the NFL you'll ever have. And from the standpoint of coaching as well. Guess what, though? He's never been the head coach. This is the first time. Well, I happen to know I love that first time. That first time when you're trying to show them, this is my time. I know that when I told him that he was going to be the coach, he came in and I said, Brian, I'm going to say this real good. You ain't Brian no more. You're the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys. All right. And so my point is, I'm excited about that, but I know he's got that wealth, frankly, experience, and he's got great people skills. I'm excited about Brian.
Yeah, he has great people skills. I'm excited too. I love that he creates these pressure-like competitive situations. It reminds me a lot of our guy, Jimmy, always create those competitive pressure-like situations. So hopefully it'll carry over to the football field and we'll do some winning this year. Jerry, thanks for taking the time, boss.
You bet, Mike. Bye-bye.
That's the end of it, man. Shout out to Michael Irvin on that. It'd probably be the best interview that I heard all year. It sounded almost like the Cat Williams interview when he did with Shay Sharp. You know, that's how good I put this interview in, you know. But I want to inform you guys that just because someone said the highest paid or the highest guaranteed money, I encourage you guys to do a little research before y'all jump on the bandwagon of, hey, Jerry is right. Because you can have a contract that is guaranteed, but technically that contract is not guaranteed, you know. And at the end of the day, I get it, but you still have to have your lawyer, your agent involved with this because of the languages inside the contract. let me tell y'all right now. For example, you can get pre-approved for a home. And I'm going to use small numbers. $150,000 you get pre-approved. Just because you got the pre-approval letter of that $150,000. And you go buy a house for $130,000. And when it's time for them to do their original and their conditionals and their continuancy of their checks and balances, just because you got a pre-approval letter doesn't mean that that is approved. On top of that, even when it get down for you to pick and select your said home, and just because you got that letter, and just because the bank said that they are willing to get this thing done, there's a process that we got, what we call the overwriter or the underwriter, that's going to make sure that everything is clear. And when it's time to do that clear, you have to bring some more additional proof that you can make that particular payment for said house. So they tell you, hey, Jay, hey, hold on from running your credit because we still haven't inked the paper. And just because you think that it's guaranteed, it's not guaranteed. So cough, D artist, come on, baby. And I got I'm going to karate-size y'all because a lot of people who's not in the financial world, and granted, I'm not of the kinds of caliber of the billionaire of Jerry Jones. But in the end, AI, Tisha, can you expound upon some of the things I'm talking about guaranteed money? You know, because I need
guaranteed money really means guaranteed, unless you break the contract terms.
Mm-hmm.
Teams always include language to protect themselves from paying out if a player gets suspended, breaks the law, violates policy, or can't physically perform. That's why players fight so hard for true guarantees with no offset language. It's the only way to make sure they actually see every dollar.
Come on with it. So the people who say, man, Jerry Jones offered this particular contract and he should go in there blindly without his rep. Shoot. I'm telling y'all, I'm encouraging y'all. All right, so if it's possible, AI, Tisha, with that being said, and I know you wouldn't advise Micah to sign a deal blanketed without his agent under Jerry Jones, because that's the reason why. That Micah Parsons says, I no longer wants to play here because we haven't heard the languages of the contract. And for those who never signed a contract or worked with contracts, or if it was a part of contract, will never understand what we're talking about because they only going to look at it. But can you at least, AI, for laws protections, can you provide historical data on at least maybe 5 to 10 players that had contracts voided even though they had guaranteed money on the contract? Can you explain that to the people? Can you do that for me?
10 NFL players who lost guaranteed money. Antonio Brown, Raiders 2019. Lost $29 million guaranteed after refusing to play, missing practices, and clashing with management. Raiders voided his guarantees for conduct violations. Aaron Hernandez, Patriots 2013. Lost over $40 million in guarantees after being arrested and later convicted of murder.
All right, hold on. Got breaking news. Hold on. All right, so keep going, girl.
Team immediately voided contract for conduct detrimental. Le'Veon Bell, Steelers 2018. Didn't sign his franchise tag and sat out the season. Lost out on $14.5 million guaranteed by refusing to play. Jay Ratliff, Cowboys 2013, signed a $48 million extension.
Hey, pause right there. Now, if I'm an agent, hold on. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm going to let her play, and we're going to see if we can get done. Keep going, hold on.
But injuries and a locker room blow-up led to release. Cowboys withheld portions of his guarantees, citing conduct availability issues. Javon Walker, Raiders 2009, signed a 6-year, $55 million deal with $16 million guaranteed. Struggled with injuries and off-field issues. Raiders restructured and voided large portions of guarantees. Rolando McClain, Raiders, 2012, lost most of his guaranteed money after repeated suspensions and violating team rules.
All right, so team rules can be, you have to check in by this facility at 5 o'clock, right? They will put these small languages within the confines of your contract, and you can be sitting here without an agent, and you looking at the big pie, right, as we talking about pie, and then all of a sudden, you sitting here like, oh, you was the highest paid guaranteed player, but due to this team violation, you are no longer going to recoup a third of this contract, or you no longer going to recoup 15% of this contract. So what I'm telling y'all is that you got to be able to have your agent present, and that's probably why he said, man, you can stick that contract up, you know what? Because nothing in life will get in between a guy that wants to play for a team and a guy that don't want to play for a team, but a guy that really wants to play for this team, but without the languages. You got to include the languages, ladies and gentlemen. Keep going with these particular conversations.
Josh Gordon, Browns, 2014 to 2019. Multiple suspensions for substance abuse violations cost him millions in guarantees. Martavis Bryant, Raiders, 2018.
That's Martavis.
Suspended indefinitely by the NFL for substance abuse. Lost guaranteed money from his new deal.
All right, so they don't have this explanations here. They don't have this explanation here. And Judah Redemption said 2 of those 3 examples were horrible, but hey, they just pulled up the top 10. Hear me out. It's not like Micah Parsons have the perfect beat of record. And on top of that, especially conduct unbecoming could be subject to a whole lot of subjectivity. Here's one of the things that I'm going to say here. Now, I have some inside information with David Irvin. David Irvin was guaranteed a certain bonus money, right? And when it is time to get that said bonus money, at the beginning of the year, this is when the MJ wasn't legal in the National Football League, but you can smoke up until a certain point of this particular offseason. And he had made the mandatory deadline. But the problem is that all of a sudden, he had got a hit on one of his drug tests that they normally do, but the substance that they normally check for, they can't really check for because they only test you for that MJ a certain part of the year. And I'm trying to keep everything in the parameters so you guys can understand. So what they did was, through the middle of the season, he got hit with a random PED. By him getting hit with a random PED, it also opened up for the NFL to check for other things far as substances. By in the confines of the clause of his contract, because this random test all of a sudden was random, and all of a sudden he get called up, and it hurt us Cowboy fans because normally they don't test for that. And David Irvin, from his mouth to our ears on the podcast, shout out to my guy for doing the podcast, by the way. And he calls into the show several times. And you guys can go back and re-listen to the podcast. And I'm going to put the information in the description once this video is over with. So here's the other side of it. Guess who called for that PED test? Allegedly, the Cowboys front office. Oh, because they wanted to get around the guaranteed money. They refused to make this guy one of the highest paid defensive interior tackles because there was a contract that was brewing up for Aaron Donald. And by his productivity, he was on pace to be making one of those type of things. Teams will self-sabotage their own players to skate away from allegedly paying their own players. And once you entered into the program, he had to be suspended. He had to not come to the facility. It was so much dog waste with this particular situation that these things happen in the National Football League. So that's why it behooves you as a player that plays in the National Football League to have your agent present so that they can read through these fine lines within the contract. Now, granted, I want Micah Parsons to be paid just like anyone else. But I want us to get done with all of this foolishness because there are players that played in the National Football League that lost their guaranteed monies. So just because it's, say, guaranteed in principle, you got to read the fine lines. And even I've been into situations that we get contracts. You guys been into situations that you guys get contracts. But just because it says guaranteed doesn't mean it's guaranteed, believe it or not.
Javon Kearse, Eagles 2007, had guarantees voided when team released him after injuries kept him off the field.
Dish $9.99. Randy Gregory's contract also deterred Von Miller away from us and signed with the Bills. Jerry says he want to build around Micah, but where's the initiative for corner and one tech? Front Rooney GM.
Yeah. And Vinny says, and appreciate it for your super chat. Vinny says, don't do drugs, simple. That was his whole argument. David Irvin's whole argument was plants over pills. You got people that's addicted to Toradol. You got people that's addicted to painkillers that played in the National Football League. On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, here's the other situation of that. When we start talking about just don't do drugs, the craziest thing is that David Irvin wasn't doing drugs. He literally said, I can wake up out of the bed and roll up out of the bed and I can be as great as this dude because he got no type of energy like I got. And he was talking to Jason Garrett, So at the end of the day, when you say don't do drugs, it's to this point, and I can back it up with facts. I can back it up with facts with this right here. Guess who was about to win that lawsuit and get all of his money back? And they saw all of that and they said, you know what? David Irvin, he's about to win. I tell you what we would do. We just allowed him to smoke. And if he dropped this, we will honor him of coming back to the league. And that's why he made it back to the league, because of the simple fact that he had all of the research, all of the information, all of the context that, hey, these particular things are doing this X, Y, and Z to your body, and this does this X, Y, Z to your body, and the concussions and all of this stuff is brought to you by X, Y, and Z. So that's why it's such an important thing to have your attorney present, to have your agent present, because you got to protect yourself at all costs. Now, come on with it.
Albert Haynesworth, Washington 2010, signed a record $100 million contract. But conditioning issues and clashes with coaches allowed Washington to stop paying out parts of his guarantees.
Now, granted, Albert Haynesworth had a $100 million contract, and he said based off of conditions and clauses, he lost it. Now, granted, he was stumping on one of our players' heads and stuff like that. Hey, we all kind of like, hey, man, this dude didn't deserve this particular money. But the NFL can literally twist things up on you real quickly. So that's why I'm telling y'all right now to be sure that when it's not smelling right, and if it's not smelling good, and if you got to get in control, look, I'm telling you right now, be in control of it. Let's talk about control. And first and foremost, I'm talking about control body odor, and that's anywhere. And all you have to do is shop.mando and get $5 off of your starter pack, and that's over 40% with promo code LAW, shopmando.com. Let's go. I use this body wash odor control, full body control with Mando. They have the product here, and they also have deodorant that you apply under the arm for 72 hours of odor control. You want to be in control. And speaking of control, they also have the product that you can apply all over the body, the invisible cream, and it also fights for 72 hours. Look, it's all about being in control. And with Mando, man, they control body odor anywhere. All you have to do is shop.mando, get $5 off your starter pack. That's over 40% with promo code LAW. Shopmando.com. Let's go and let's stay in control of your order. I love it.
Let's go, man! Let's go!
No doubt. Let's go, man. What we got right here, we'll open up the phone line since we had to intervene with the contract situation. And this phone line is brought to you by RogueShop. Be sure to check us out on RogueShop and get things going in the best way possible. If you are here, ladies and gentlemen, and want to be participating in the conversation, I'm not saying, ladies and gentlemen, that if you decide to say, okay, what you mean, that there shouldn't be languages within the confines of the contract? No, that's not what I'm saying. But that's why you have your attorney and your lawyer or your agent present. I'm just telling y'all from what I know from a business-wise, But at the end of the day, ladies, you can take whatever you want to take and believe what you ever want to believe, but you got to understand.
Call my phone, hit my line. Only ones who down for line. Keep it super thug my way on this side. Keep it super thug my way on this
I got
side.
from the 484. The good. What's good with you, man? What's good with you, man? Hood Quavius, man. What's good with you, man?
I'm listening to. I was checking you out. Listening to Michael Irvin, Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember a month ago, maybe two,
right,
when they were doing a Jerry Jones press conference out on the field.
Uh-huh.
And Jerry Jones alluded to $200+ million being
right.
guaranteed to this
Facts.
guy, guaranteed to Mike. Right. And then to hear him say those numbers while talking to Michael Irvin tells me that maybe that language was in the contract. This is how I think it went down. Right? Hey, look, we're gonna pay you in excess of $200 million. You know what I'm saying? Fully guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
This, that, and this. Micah says, I like that. I like the sound of that. Let's
Mm-hmm.
draw it up and get it to my agent.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry got pissed at that point. I don't want to involve your agent. But it is incumbent upon him as a businessman to involve the agent. Now, this is where I think it went left.
Uh-huh.
Jerry may have said the agent said, stick it up your ass. I doubt that.
Right.
Okay. I think the agent said exactly what Micah said. Hey, hold off for a second. Before we make any snappy decisions, hold off for a second. Let's see if we can get more. But if you're looking at what Micah has said over this time period, we heard him say, I don't have to be a $40 million man. I don't have to be a $40 million man. I'm tired of getting doubled and triple teamed. Let's get more in here. If that means I got to take less to do so, I'll do that. And then he further alluded to that same thing when he said, I wanted to get a deal done last season, but the Cowboys prioritized Dak and CD. Fair. I get that. Dak was literally about to play his last year. CD was already on his 5th-year option. So I get it. I get that part from the Joneses. But what I don't get is after you already paid Dak and you paid CD, you have in excess of $50-some million.
Yeah.
You do that ASAP. That's something you say ASAP.
Yeah.
Now, is that because the Joneses were dragging their feet, or is it because the agent stepped in and decided he wanted to play hardball and he's being greedy? Again, remember this. Micah said, I don't have to make all that money. I want pieces around me to help me be cleaner in these games. So if I have to take less in order to do so, I'm doing my due diligence by giving you a team-friendly deal. I need you to do your due diligence by getting better pieces around me. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's one of the parts that we have an issue with, the fact that the Joneses don't get better pieces around him. You know what I'm saying? Now, we don't know. It's preseason, right? So when we're looking at preseason, I'm not focused on team accomplishment, wins or losses.
Right.
What I'm focused on is individual, right? So the fact that you didn't pay Micah, I'm looking at individual. Can that dude help Micah?
Yeah.
Can that dude help Micah? How about those linebackers? Are any of those linebackers able to help Micah? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at. Now, what Jerry Jones has to do is get out of his own way, swallow his pride, go to the agent. And what David Mulligetta has to do is, it's either you're on some bullshit, pardon my language,
you're
on some bull sugar, and you try to just get your payday, and you don't have your client's best interests at heart, or that's honestly, there is no or there, because that's what it seems for me looking at it on both sides. That's what it seems like. The agent wants to be greedy and go for more. Micah already said that he doesn't need that. Mike is making millions off of endorsements. You know what I'm saying? But that has no bearing on football. Fine, I get that. But if the agent's more worried about lining his pockets, when Micah already expressed the need to get the deal done, so that way you can do your part, Cowboys front office, then what's the problem?
Yeah.
It's a bit of Jerry and it's a bit of David. So I'm not taking nobody's side on it. If I'm going to take anybody's side, I'm gonna ride with the same dudes I've been riding with for the past 43 years. The players, the dudes' jerseys that I buy, the dudes I support.
And here's before I let you go, because I got a business meeting at the top of the hour. At the end of the day, I get what people are saying, but I'm always going to lean on, hey, who I'm paying to do this for. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end, Jerry was right. Who works for who, right? And just like what Dez Bryant said, just like what other players have said, look, I can't get into this negotiation fight with you, Jerry, because this is what you do. He took $800,000 and flipped it to $100 million, right? And at the end of the day, yes, that relationship that Jerry had with Michael Irvin, that's cool. That's cool, fine and dandy. But there's nothing promised that Jerry will live the extenuancy of another 30 years to also protect Micah, right? So there's all these type of things, and the best way to get the discount is, of course, pay the player early. And whatever that guaranteed contract is or was, at that time it may be the highest paid guarantee. But that was backdated, they haven't talked since March. So a lot of this stuff have changed, and that's what I'm trying to get at, but I appreciate you for calling in, bro.
You already know, bro. This your boy Hoodie Kush from the Basement Boys. I will be live this evening. Got a nice little itinerary of things to talk about. So with that being said, man, I want y'all to be good, man. Lord, you already know what it is. It's nothing but love, you heard?
Yes, indeed, man. Appreciate you, man. That's the Hoodie Kush, man. Hood Quavius Cusherton. And granted, I get it. I absolutely understand that y'all saying that, hey, man, he had a contract on the table. Just take it. Just take it. If that's the case, how come we continuously have the same issue over and over again when other teams don't? How come we continuously have the same cloud that follow us and it don't follow anyone else? It's headlines, man. This is terrible. Because you can't sit back and tell me I'm offering you the highest paid guaranteed contract in the National Football League, and then in return, I no longer wants to play with the Dallas Cowboys. That don't even match. I wish for a trade. That don't match. Saiton says the league has contracts with players called CBA, and Jerry violated it. I mean, they have an arbitration, right? And that arbitration is an agreement that's airtight with certain things. But here's the thing that I'm going to say about this league. We have the poorest union of all of sports. This union, the NFLPA, is the worst amongst all sports, and just period. And that's not up for debate. Because there's no consistency with it for us to reach out to the NFLPA and for them to basically take a dump on us in 2017, whereas the NFL had the right to suspend the guy, can't even say his name right now, with unjust cost for 6 games without an arrest, without a mugshot, and for someone else immediately afterwards to get suspended for less games, but with a domestic violence case, right? But with charges on their account. Yeah, with mugshots. So the NFLPA is the worst amongst all, right? And we can go down the line on so many other previous situations that happened, but they are the weakest. All right, I have from the 361, you're live. Okay, 361, you gone. All right, I have from the 210. Well, hold on. 210, you in. Come on, talk to me.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, man, I just look at it like this, right?
We're breaking up a little bit.
This is my little opinion. You know what I'm saying? Michael, he's a smart dude. I'm quite sure he is. I don't know him, but I'm quite sure he's a smart. You know what I'm saying? And it come down to this right here. Jerry talked to him. They went over some numbers. Of course, somebody got to oversee the fine print, right? The like you said, the clauses that's gonna be into the contract.
Right.
Okay, I get that. I get that. I don't think Jerry is popping bull sugar when he says that he did that with Michael.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Jerry is popping bull sugar when he said the agent replied, you know, shove it.
Make sure the fine print on my career is legit. It's easy to say sign the deal from the couch until you negotiated your salary and contract.
Right.
We have no space or business to speak on anyone's pockets or future.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, DP. Thank you so much for your support. Now go ahead, fam.
Yeah, I don't believe that Jerry was lying about the agent denying the contract because it wasn't properly discussed with him. I don't think Jerry is just trying to pull a fast one on Michael. But Michael got to have common sense too. It got to be a common ground here. Yeah, the agent is out to get the most that he possibly can get.
Right.
Michael is on record saying he'll take less. What's the difference between 30 and 40? Right. He on record for all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He have to make a decision.
Right.
Because if it's up to his agent, this could go on and on and on.
It can. Yeah.
The agent don't care.
But before I let the next caller on, in business 101, what do you try to do? Buy the what? Buy it's just saying buy what? Buy low and do what?
Sell high.
That's my
buy
whole
low,
point.
Sell high.
Buy low, sell high. So here's my thing, and I know what Jerry Jones wants. He wants your allegiance to be 1,000% with him, right? And he want you to say, hey man, he got to track. Look, people fail to realize if you work for the Cowboys, you ain't making no money. I hate to say that. You know what I'm saying? They pay the people the least, from the weight working staff to the people that work at the parking lot. So it's not like people go to the Cowboys, even from their mindset to even work there, that they're paying hands over fist if you pull somebody to the side. They pay you dog water. And this is the most highest value franchise of all of America, right?
Right.
They get paid dog water. So Jerry, we know that he likes to buy low and sell high. He don't pay these people the way that they supposed to get paid. Now that's on the other side. Now even within the confines of the contract, he wants to be the smartest person in the room. So this is a cheap ran franchise. They do have great things, don't get me wrong, but they don't pay the people. It took the cheerleaders crying on national TV in order for them to get paid some coins. So we know that part of it, and I get it. Jerry Jones trying to make a deal, and people fall into this particular trap of saying, okay, David Mulugeta's greedy, but just before him, who's the agent for Dak Prescott? He was in the same conversation. He's greedy, right?
Right.
So now
let me say this, Law. Okay, even with that situation, right? See, Dak betted on himself. He betted on himself. When they could lock in on them numbers, he said, all right, I'll take the chance and play on the franchise. And he did that.
Yeah.
They couldn't lock in on the number no more. And guess what? His agent might have been guiding him saying, hey, just keep betting on yourself because eventually it's going to skyrocket for you. And that's what happened with him. Now, Micah is basically in the same situation. He could bet on himself this year. He could pout to say, hey, I need my money now. You need to pay me my money right now. I ain't gonna play. Trade me. Or he could say, hey, look here, man. I'm just gonna go out here and play like a crazed dog with my hair on fire. Go out here and have the best season ever. You know, blah blah blah. And that'll only make the stakes even higher for me for my pay. Now he could do all of that. But all I'm saying is, it got to be a common ground, like Micah Irvin said.
Yeah.
Now check this out.
In closing,
Jerry said, Michael, you can get Micah over to my office. You and Michael, you get Micah, come on over to my office, and plus we can get Mulugeta in on it.
Nah, he
said that. He said that. He just ain't gonna be the one. No, he just ain't gonna be the one to do the reaching out. But if it's any way possible that Micah could
pause for a second, bro. I got a super
did
chat.
Say he offered Micah the highest paid guaranteed defensive player ever. Right now, that price is at $123.5.
Yes, appreciate you for calling in. CJ. In closing, what's your final point?
Man, Micah just needs to think about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying book your agent, but really think about it. At the end of the day, the money that you finna get, man, is people out here can't even
gravitate their thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, that agent gonna be around, and they don't forget. So we're finna go through the same thing next season. Because George Pickens is under David Mulugeta, right? Malik Hooker is under David Mulugeta. Yeah, and a few other people. Sam Williams is under David Mulugeta. So you got multitudes of people that got that same agent. So if you trying to cut off the agent just because you don't like him because of how he handled and works within the confines of his way of delivering things, man, it's going to be a crazy thing because now you're going to be cutting off a third of your team because you can't deal with the agent, and that's not how you do business. But you know, who am I? But I appreciate you, man.
He could deal with him now because he finna deal with him.
Yeah,
that man finna get paid, man.
No doubt.
That man finna Jared do that whole little old interview for Michael Irvin. All I got out of it was this: bring him on in. And we're going to go and get it done. That's all I got out of it.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you calling in. All right. Yeah. CJ, man, from East Texas, man. All I can say is, man, I get it, man. Y'all are saying, hey, just agree with the deal. Let's go ahead and do it. It's, all right, here we go. Seiton says it's called market rate. How many people selling their houses lower than value? When it's selling, what is the seller's market? When it's the seller's market? Yeah, we agree. We agree with that. Yeah. And that is always a moving target. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And the last time he talked to Micah Parsons, other players done got signed. TJ done got signed. What's his name got signed? Myles Garrett got signed. You had a slew of guys to get signed. Unbelievable contracts starting off with Myles Garrett. So if you wanted to get that cheaper APY, and I get it, he could say, hey, I got the biggest guarantee that he ever seen in his life. But at the end of the day, he didn't say what the guarantee numbers was. He didn't say. So at the end of the day, man, all right, I tell y'all what. If you agreeing with Jerry, then Jerry did nothing wrong. It's not his fault. If y'all want to be that simple-minded, okay, Jerry is not the problem. The people that he drafted, because he's the GM, is the problem. The way that he can't foresee into the future, saying that, hey, we got 3 more years, he got 3 more years under contract, of not being able to forecast said player and hurry up to get to the table to sign said player, I guess that Jerry is doing everything right, and he's under contract. And, hey, for anybody who want to keep the record, if Jerry live another 30 years, it can be what? Another situation that the players are the fault and he who picked the players are not the fault. That's what we doing here. I got from the 202 Big Amish. You're live on the Nation, brought to you by RogueShop. Talk to me.
How about them Cowboys, y'all?
Yeah. How about it?
Man, this is very exciting.
Yeah.
But worrisome on one level. But I do want to say this, that I understand Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I agree, but I definitely understand him. And he's a relationships guy. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
And he's in a pissing match right now with the person who is really shouldn't be that much involved. And I agree with Jerry, because based on relationships, I'm going by that. He's set that way of doing business for years.
Right.
That's Jerry Jones. And that's clear as day from Michael Irvin's, even what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he does business.
Yeah.
Then you have the agent come in who, right or wrong, wants to maximize whatever he can. He looks at Jerry Jones as numbers. He's looking at him in a different light, not in a relationship with him. So now you come down to the pissing match, and we'll go back to the Bible again.
Okay.
You shall worship no other God but me.
Jerry.
And that's Jerry. And now he's telling Micah, right?
Yeah.
You come in and we'll work it out, but you worship me.
Yeah.
And I got to say this, Dave Mulligata it's not that the Cowboys are going to lose players. Dave Mulligata is going to lose clients. That's from Big Amish. A little slow in Amish, but
no doubt, man. I appreciate you for calling in, fam. Good observation, good analysis too, by the way. As David, as Big Amish say. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right.
Good call from him. Real good call from him. Here's my thoughts on it. If you guys thinking that it's the player fault, okay, all right, y'all right. Everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. So doing it Jerry way, it is winning way, right? 4 playoff wins in the last 30 seasons. And someone said before, like, well, we wasn't winning before Jerry Jones got here. Yeah, 2 things can be true. But we were winning when Jerry Jones wasn't having his hands in the pot. And let me know if I'm wrong on that. When we had a coach by the name of Jimmy Johnson who did player personnel. He was a part of that player personnel situation. It wasn't just Jerry. Now, Jimmy Johnson, he had his faults. He's not spotless. You know, when you have an alpha male and you got another alpha male, it's going to clash. As they say, cooler heads prevail. But can y'all explain to me, what is the definition of insanity? And explain to me, what are we doing differently if that's the case in the scenario, opposed to what Jerry Jones is saying in the last 30 years, 30 seasons, right? Can somebody out-debate that if that's the situation? What are we doing differently if that's the case? So I get it. If you want to carry and tote the water for Jerry, and I know he got more years behind him than in front of him from what we can see, but he still may outlive us all. And establishing these kinds of relationships is cool. But Parsons is not guaranteed to be around, just like Michael Irvin, with the connections with Michael Irvin have with Jerry and the lookouts that Jerry provide for Michael Irvin. those things will not be able to be sufficient. So I'm going to ask you guys, just because someone don't like the way your wife cook doesn't mean that you got to get a divorce from her. So I'm going to say this. Just because people don't like the way David Mulugeta operates and works doesn't mean that Micah Parsons have to divorce and get rid of him, is what I'm getting at.
Nigel Wanza $5. What happens if George P. has a career year? Then what? I believe they have the same agent.
Yeah. They do have David Mulugeta. So what you do at that point? You're still sending him the same message. Overall, this is not a good look, is what I'm getting at. And for people to say, hey, he should just fire his agent. Is that the workaround solution? What the next agent going to do? Oh, man, I'm just going to take the lowest possible deal so I can get something in my pockets? No. That's a premium player. And for anybody who say, well, hey, T. Higgins fired his agent, y'all think Rocky Arsenault is a saint? Did y'all see how he literally ski masked us with the Ezekiel Elliott contract, which is listed one of the top 10 worst Dallas Cowboys contract of all times? I digress. I got the next caller on from the 206. You in the mix. Talk to me.
What up, Locke? I just got something quick to say. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. What Jerry just did, he just set all you guys up, even you podcaster. He begging in his heart, I need you, Mike. You want to bring both Mike and the agent. So he just did a test to see if they're going to come to the table. That's all that matters. The fans just want to get the deal done. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. So Jerry just played all y'all on national TV so we can get this deal done. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, brother. I'm sorry. He just played y'all.
Yeah.
You can laugh, but he just played all y'all. He said, please, in his heart, he said, please, Mike, I need you, Mike. That's what he was just saying. I need to get this deal done, Mike. And you can bring his agent. That's it. I'm sorry. That's it.
So he should fire his agent and have no.
Nope.
His agent got to sign off on the contract too. He can't just open.
Yeah, but
he can't. Huh?
But he said bring the agent too. He said bring Mike and he could bring his agent. So he just said it on national TV. I want the deal done now.
Okay.
So he just played everybody.
Okay, he just played everybody into this Ponzi scheme, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, if Mike is gonna bring his agent, while you podcasting, like you say, we trying to take him for Jerry Jones, and you trying to take him for his agent. So all
no, I'm taking up. I'm taking up on business in general. I'm taking up on business in general. No, because if there's somebody right now that's finna enter a contract, and if they never been into any type of contracting agreements, and if they never read the small print, and they go in and they look at the bottom line and say, okay, I got $100,000 that I'm about to receive, and by these people saying that I got you, that's basically what it's saying. I don't need to have nobody to proofread or overread this particular thing. I'm gonna go in blindly and sign this contract based off of a hearsay. No way, man. No way, man. But I know you got to go somewhere. Your GPS. Go ahead.
The guy just said. Let me say it again, Lord. I know you trying, like you said, we're trying to take over Jerry. He just said on national TV in front of all of y'all, Michael, come back to the table with Micah Irvin, and you could bring your agent. What that means, if he's bringing his agent, that means they're going to finish the negotiation.
Michael Irvin got nothing to do. Michael Irvin got nothing to do with Micah. Michael Irvin got nothing to do with Micah. Michael agent can speak for himself. He don't need Michael Irvin to be in there.
No.
He don't need Michael Irvin to be in there. I am catching it. You ain't catching it. That's disrespectful to a guy that signed $1 billion worth of deals. He don't need to be held by nobody. He's sitting there saying, I'm my own man. And if you want to meet with me, you can't meet with my client without me and then tell me to come meet with you with another person. No, I got this, and that's just the bottom line. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for calling in. I appreciate you for calling in, bro. Appreciate you.
Bro.
Good shit. Yeah. At the end of the day, y'all, I don't want y'all to go into a country. Trust and take. You don't have to take my word for it, right? You don't have to take my word for it. I tell you what. Listen to Jerry. And let me know what insanity is. Yeah. All right. Last but not least, man, for the 910 you in, talk to me.
What up, Law? How you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, man, and hey, great content at the training camp, man. Great content.
Appreciate you.
Hey, man, I'm gonna change the subject, man. I'm tired of talking about Michael, man. He gonna get signed. He gonna play first game. We gonna beat the Eagles, man. That's it. And what you think the record gonna be?
Yeah, hey, that's not the point though. I get what you're saying, but even if he plays week 1, week 2, he will not be ready. That's the whole point. We are not geared into playing football. We talking about money. And Parsons should be out there working and getting himself into shape instead of moping with his face longer than Jay Leno's chin on the sideline. If they had the right business man.
Still, it's the same thing with Trey Hendrickson, man. As a player, as a grown man, I know kids, they stop calling these grown-ass men kids. As a grown man, you have a choice to make right now. If Micah decides to sit out, then Micah need to also know in the back of his other mind, right? On the sideline, he needs to be training, doing some type of training, right? If he's gonna sit out, I still feel that the contract will get signed before the season starts.
I get what you're saying with that, but that's the whole point of us not being prepared. You always say you military, right? You military, right? And they talk about being readiness. Is this team ready to go into war right now? Without their top dog, without their top weapon.
Yeah, but that's Michael's fault right now. Michael choose not to get on that field. No matter what, I hear what everybody said. No matter what, man, that man is getting paid in some type of fashion for this year. He wants more money. So if he chooses to sit out, he has to choose to practice or train on the sideline, Law. That's what he's choosing to do. He's leaving his brothers on the field. No matter how we slice and dice, he has a contract for this year.
Yeah. So Ryan Shazier had a contract for that year. He can barely walk from me to this microphone that I got in my face. That's the price of you going to have to render. Just like who's out for 4 to 6 months? 4 to 6 weeks. Mingo was under contract. Mingo was under contract. Mingo was under contract. Yes or no?
Yeah, he was.
All right. So if you think, if we contextualize, if that was Parsons, do his price of that bag, do it goes upwards or downwards?
It goes down.
It goes down. Okay, so even if you go get a car, right? The moment you drive out of that car lot, right? And if you get a fender bender, a scruff, or anything like that, will that value remains the same for that said car?
No.
So that's my whole point. And even with Trey Hendricks, this is his second contract, not his first. He's 30, finna be 31.
So let me ask you a question then. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Micah Parsons play this year and he gets injured and he tears his ACL. Do you think the Cowboys let Micah walk, or do you think they use a franchise tag on him?
No, because they go into that guilt mode and they guilt pay. And then that's when people say, look, when people literally say the Cowboys overpay for players, they are right. Did the Cowboys overpaid for Dak Prescott? My answer to that is yes. They overpaid for Dak Prescott due to the fact when they first entered into the conversation, it was at $25 million APY. By the time they paid him, by the time they got done with all of those negotiations and tactics, it ended up him being franchise tag, and it ended up him also getting paid APY $40 million. That's a long, big jump. And even when it was time to pay Micah Parsons last season, they could have entered into that conversation, right? Instead of paying Micah Parsons last year, they went into a whole year. He got hurt. Some of those conversations raised some eyebrows. I get that. But they're going to end up overpaying for him because they waited too late.
But
that's what I'm getting at.
That's why I disagree, right? Because I think today's players in the NFL, right? The NFL players in today's league, I don't think these players think about and worry about who's great at what they do and are they really great at what they do. I think we're in an age right now where we're dealing with players that it's not about the ability, it's about the time. Prime example, Michael Parsons gets paid right now. Let's just say Michael Parsons get paid $45 million a year. Old boy that got drafted by the Jaguars.
Hey, pause for a quick second. I got a super chat.
Insanity. JJ said he put the dollar on the table and 11 liked it. He has to go through his agent. Why not let him? Now look where we at. 11 looks miserable.
All right, so you got as the poet says this too cool. Insanity. Jerry Jones put the money on the table. Number 11 took that money to his agent. According to Jerry, his agent said, go stick that up, you know what, right? Now look where we are at. There got to be something within the confines of the languages that the agent may not like, or it could be a lot of bullshit. Keep in mind, Jerry is a salesman, right? And that's the part that we don't know. But one thing we do know is that the consistencies of how the Joneses handle these contracts haven't been popular.
So when a player gets a signing bonus, do the agent get a percentage of the signing bonus?
Agents get percentages of any of all of the money that the players are getting under their particular likeness. Basically, if they go out there and do it, sometimes it can be deals with Nike. Sometimes it can be deals on the field or off the field. If they negotiated the deal, they get their cut of it. That's how they make their earnings. Yep.
Okay, but let me go back to Walker real quick. Old boy that got drafted from Georgia by the Jaguars. I think he was the first pick, correct?
Yeah, in closing.
Michael gets paid right now. Yeah. So Michael let's just say Michael reset the market at $45 million.
Right.
How much do he get paid because he next up?
Sometimes, as far as the agent wise, you talking about as far as the agent wise?
I'm just saying he's next up in the shoot. How much do he get paid? Michael's sitting at 45, but Walker contract is up next. But keep in mind, Walker don't have the same stats that Michael do.
Right.
But he's just up next, so he's going to get paid because he's next, not because he's overperforming Michael.
Right. That's the price of doing business is what we're getting at. What we're all saying collectively as Cowboys people that's been doing this, like going over the contract situation. Right now, who needs to get paid for the Eagles? Do you know?
It should be Carter. I mean Davis, right?
Davis or Carter or what have you. The difference is between the difference is between the two is that far as salary cap wise, and we only talking about cap, we're not talking about cash. I get it. That could be a whole nother situation. But the difference is between the two is that we got a measly $2 million more on the cap than they do because they know how to negotiate and handle their contracts. Look. They're not going into the season, even though they're a little banged up now, but they're not going into the season talking about money and their star-studded player not practicing and is on the sidelines moping. Because this is the way we are handling business, is not the business structure that's right for this particular team to uplift morale. Not everybody. Go ahead. In closing, though.
In closing, we all know that's how Jerry do business. At this point in our adult lives, we shouldn't let the way this man conduct his business interfere with our thought process, bro. Like all I'm saying is that we know what this man's gonna do. Definition of insanity is Jerry Jones. Right. However, Micah, I think he's gonna play week 1. I think a contract gonna be done before week 1. All this shit is just for show right now.
Yeah. If just for show. But we need substance, bro. We need to be on the mindset of winning, not on the mindset of winning contracts. You know, it's just crazy.
No,
it's
but
just
I called you to ask you one question, though. I told you I wanted to change the subject. My
go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Out of Jay Williamson and Jordan Blue, Jadon Blue, man, who you think gonna have a better year? That's gonna be a good one.
We need for the rookie to have a better year. But if Javonte Williams is having a hell of a cap, then so be it, man. I appreciate you for calling in, bro. Yeah.
Hey, no problem. I have a good one.
No doubt, man. Good call from him. Hey, 804, we going to hit you back because I got to go, 804. I appreciate you for jumping in, though. Yeah. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Y'all can beat me up. Y'all can say, look, Law, you haven't touched $1 million. You haven't touched $1 billion. Who are you to say that these guys don't know what the hell they are doing? And that's okay, because you don't need to know how to drive to see kids playing in the street to tell them, hey, get out of the street, cars coming, right? You don't need to know how to drive, right? You don't have to be a fireman to see fire in a house that's burning down to tell people, get out, there's smoke, there's fire. You don't have to be those things, right? You don't have to be those things. So people need to stop telling people just because they don't have the remuneration, just because they don't have the money, just because they haven't did deals and things of that nature, that they not qualified. Because I know for one thing for sure, two things for certain, that the grand creator make the unqualified qualified, right? But also, that's why we got 2 eyes, 2 ears. We can see things and hear things, and 1 mouth to speak. And I know for sure, as a relations, we are people. And you would never, ever disregard on how people make you feel. And unfortunately, something was said. Something was said for that man to declare and decree, I no longer wants to be here. Now, Jerry, Law, you're not turning down $200 million guaranteed. I will if the language is not right. All money ain't good money. I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. But if it takes me to lick the edge of a damn toilet bowl in order to get that $200 million and somebody taking dumps on me, no, I'm not signing. I turned down money before, but not $200 million though, by the way. But I'm saying all money ain't good money. I gave you some examples. But you may be subject to fall upon your knees and not know your true value, to suck upon $200 million guaranteed. And then you get in there and you get ramshacked and you get diddied and you get oil poured upon your body. All money ain't good money. And from those who on the lower end of these levels of life, they would say, take the money, no, regardless of the contract and the information that you're hearing. Come on with it. Just because, write this down in your mental mindset, just because someone don't like your wife cooking doesn't mean you got to divorce her. Just because Jerry Jones don't like David Mulagata doesn't mean that Parsons should divorce him. The reality of it, Cowboy Nation, if there's one thing a man should always do, is mainly to himself stay true. Never allow someone to change your point of view unless what they bring or mean makes sense to you. Never judge a man by sight alone, nor by the height he has grown. And when speaking, keep it at a moderate tone, because raised voices only turn those hearts into stone. You see, in the beginning, it was brother, I will ride with brother, roll with brothers. The morals of life, live, love, and respect for another. Then there are those who are trying to be smart, Dak delusional, because you're a grown man sitting here with another man's name. My name is my name. So when I walk into rooms, you know that Law Nation been here. Live, love, and respect for another. Then there are those who will try to be smart. They would take the decent man to alter his heart to seek to rip him apart. Those men, Dak delusional, should never be called a friend because they bend the lies around the truth to meet their ends. And if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep. If all of your desires of it makes you quite mad that you don't get tired, and it makes you hold everything tawdry and cheap, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you'll gladly go out there and sweat for it, fret for it, or plan for it, or lose all terror of your mind, if you would simply, just simply go after the things you want with all of your capacity, strength, and sagacity, with faith, hope, confidence, and stern pertinacity. If need of cold, poverty, or famish, or fame, or sickness of body or brain can turn you away from the things you want, if dogged and grim and besieged and beset with the help of almighty Cowboy Nation, always represent your name. What did old boy said on the wire? My name is my name. That's Law Nation. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go. Always represent your name. Never go by anybody else's name. Come on with it. Yeah.
Tell them run it off.
Yeah. Watch me roll. Cause I'm the same.
Yeah. I wake up, thumb down that check, no drip this. Tell them run it off.
Yeah.
No sleep, no rest.
You see that name up there? Nobody else name.
Tell them run it
Come
off.
on.
I wake up,
Law
thumb down that check,
Nation.
no drip this.
Some of y'all would settle and be sold out for $1 billion. Some of y'all would settle and be sold out for 100 million, 50 million, but not Law. Never sold. Come on.
Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me.
All right.
I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies.
Yeah.
Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me.
Don't zone me.
I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady.
Yeah.
The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy.
Alright.
Put in
Self-made,
my hours,
baby.
send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom.
Oh, come on, baby. Let's get it.
I wake up,
Law.
thumb down that
Nation.
no drip this. Tell
Come on.
them run it off.
Yo.
No sleep, no rest.
Yo.
Might crash, might wreck. But first I
Stretch.
tell them run it off.
Shout out to you, DP. Shout out to you, Sighted, D Artist. Kobe, not Brian, but Carl. I see you. Nigel, King, you got us, the poet. Stretch.
Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to
Philly.
I call up Nigel, he'll come through
on.
in a hurry.
Alright.
Those London boys don't come to play, you should get worried.
One
false move, find yourself, they getting
buried, baby.
Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games.
Come on, Dak Delusion.
Decisions that brought my mama pain.
Alright, not mine.
I made a promise to her, swore that I would change.
Come on.
I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my
name, baby. Law.
Down that
Nation.
no drip this.
Alright.
Tell them run
Yo.
it on.
Come on.
No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it on. I wake up. Down that shit. No drip this. Tell them run
Put LAW in the chat, baby.
no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it on.
And they understand
Original,
the
they
cost
never will be.
that is involved.
Give me my theme music.
There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all
Yo.
agree together. There's
Come on.
1,000 of you tonight.
Yo.
And those that are watching.
Until next
There's
time.
1,000 that's watching online.
DC for life. Don't sell your short. Don't sell yourself short, baby. Don't do that.
Online to give this, I'm challenging
Know
each
your
of you
cost,
all
baby.
down here to give me $20. But I need everyone standing up here with us with me to pledge a seat of $100. Because again, it costs the city. I got you.
Until next time, DC for life, not for short. Peace.